So go ahead.
Roll call. Mayor Mike Arnold is absent. Mayor Pro Tem Drake Hill.
Present.
Councilmember Moses.
Present.
Councilmember Smith.
Present.
Councilmember Swenson is absent. We have four.
Great. If everybody would please stand and join us for pledge of allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation indivisible with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Ready to call the All right, we have one person signed up for public comments, and that is Kenneth Welch. This won't take. It looks like you're off.
This will take you 3 minutes. I just, over the last 2 or 3 days, I went to the Kansas forum. A whole lot of people said we're not going to touch the police. Or like, we won't touch the police. We don't want to touch the police. But safety is first. I heard a lot of discussions about budgeting and setting priorities. Just, I don't know the detail of what we face, but I understand we have a great shortfall. Safety is first. Police are the priority. Just need to keep in mind, that's your number priority. You gotta do what you gotta do. So I know it's competitive out there hiring police officers. The counties taking them away from the city. The neighboring counties are taking them away from the county. You gotta do what you gotta do. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to new business. Consider, discuss, and take appropriate action on the following. Consideration, discussion, and take possible action on creation of a police department incentive program, and here presentation on staffing, recruitment, and retention.
We would like to bring that comments and record.
If this is appropriate.
Yeah, this is appropriate. I'm
Okay.
sorry. Either I can do that or the council member.
Okay.
Simply the council member do it.
No, that'd be great.
Or the mayor wants to.
Please.
Please forgive me, I may not have the passion of the mayor and retire every day, but I'll try to do him some justice. My thoughts and proposal regarding police department recruitment and retention by Mayor Mike Arnold, voted on April 18, 2024. After a long and distinguished career, our Blanco police chief recently retired unexpectedly. 2 other officers are also leaving for various stated reasons. We need to recruit replacements and have already posted the opening. Nationwide, there's a shortage of police officers just down the road. The city of Austin can't hire officers fast. And they pay very, very well. With new laws taking effect, hiring new police officers will become more challenging as school districts across Texas recruit thousands of new school resource officers. We're a very small town and not a very wealthy one. Our city budget is threadbare. Our road repair budget has been literally zero for several years. We simply cannot afford a never-ending paycheck arms race with more affluent towns. One councilman, currently up for re-election, when discussing PD recruitment and retention, asked why would anyone want a job in Blanco if they can get a few more bucks somewhere else? Seriously. Okay. Well, sir, they would come here for less than the biggest possible paycheck. Like so many of us, because Blanco is a small, beautiful, friendly community, a great place to raise a family. As a policy, I believe we should seek city employees who share the same values and want to be a longtime resident of Blanco, and not merely looking to make the most money. Why can't we go back to embracing our small town nature and stop embracing big city ways? It might be news to the recent transplant city council members. Once again, these are my words. But the small town doesn't mean cheap or inferior or sloppy or unprofessional. It means practical, resourceful, connected with the customs made for the community. The past couple city councils have shifted Blanco drastically towards the big city way of doing things. And look what it's got us. Deficits, squandered revenues, revolving doors, and constantly raising taxes. But still, no pothole filling. There's a better way, a Blanco way. We need to get back to it. And this goes directly to the way we recruit, hire, and retain city personnel, including the police. Notable psychologist Frederick Hertzberg established what is embraced as the two-factor theory of human resources. Employees are driven by what is called hygiene factors and motivators. He shows that hygiene factors like pay, titles, and management only serve to decrease dissatisfaction. What actually increases satisfaction and loyalty and retention are the intangibles, like relationships, recognition, and part of being something special. I found this to be true. What does this mean in practical terms? Sure, we may recruit more applicants by offering more money than the next town. But if that's why they come here, they will generally be looking to leave as soon as another town offers them more. However, if they're here because they love Blanco, if they know we love them and will always do our best for them, they'll stay. Like most of us, even if we can't keep up dollar for dollar in a paycheck arms race with Austin. Here's a case in point. We just gave members of our police department a $3,000 raise across the board. That's a lot for us, especially when it wasn't budgeted. Consider it the widow's mite, the best we could do, and done with very good intentions. Yes, I'm told by our city administrator that one of them responded that this raise was a slap in the face. No kidding. That's what you call having one foot out the door, and it's very sad. I believe most folks in Blanco today would be very grateful for an unexpected raise. Unbudgeted $3,000 per year raise. Here's what I propose instead. Slapping them in the face, again with another blanket pay raise. How about instead we offer an equivalent boost as a housing stipend for those who relocate to Blanco? In the same vein, instead of putting a picture of a police officer and a police car on the recruitment flyers, let's put a picture of the Blanco River or the courthouse. Sell them on our community, our schools, our beauty, the real motivators. Let's encourage them to put their kids in schools here, go to church here, buy their groceries here, really connect and become a part of our community. Of course, we will welcome them with open arms. This way, we'll have staff who want to be here because it's Blanco and not a stepping stone to another agency that offers more money. We'll build a long-term, loyal team and not a revolving door. And I continually hear folks saying that they think our PD is professional, sharp, well-equipped. And it is. They also say they're sad they don't know any of these officers anymore. And they're all strangers and wish it were more like it used to be. That's a shame because they're great people. The good news is that we can get back to that. Imagine this level of professionalism and local roots. How can that not be the best for Blanco? We do not need to change our personnel, but instead we need to steer our local government and PD towards a more Blanco-centered mindset and culture, which we're losing fast under this city council. I'm not criticizing any member of our PD. My only criticism is leveled towards our misguided council members who have a track record of doing things the high tax, big city way, while seemingly disdaining all things small town and neglect the basics. This is hurting us. All of the Blanco PD officers I've met are solid and professional. I'm proud of them. We all should be. I can say with any one of them, I can't say why any one of them came here. But if one or another did come here for the paycheck, I do hope they are falling in love with our town and will consider putting a lease here, even if we can't keep with it within Austin or keep up with Austin. We will also honor and respect our men and women in blue, but we simply can't compete forever with other towns dollar for dollar or perk for perk. That doesn't mean we'll have an inferior PD. Rather, it means we'll have a loyal, dedicated, long-term PD that is deeply rooted in our town, which I think is needed. Constant turnover is very expensive, costing much more than just money. There's no doubt our officers will each probably be approached sooner or later by another town offering them more money. When they are, I hope they'll stay because Blanco is awesome, sweet, peaceful, friendly, beautiful community who truly honors their service. I hope they find meaning here and embrace the community as their forever home, as we all embrace them. I understand one council member will propose giving a cash retention bonus if a new cop stays on our staff for 3 years or more. While that is a step in the right direction, it falls short. I believe using the same funds, or perhaps more is necessary, to incentivize them to actually move here will prove to be wiser in the long run, not only in retention, but also morale, community support, and ultimately public safety. To summarize and be perfectly clear, I fully support the initiative to offer better incentives for recruitment and retention of police officers. My specific proposal to tie to these incentives to residency. I suggest a 3-tiered system: city limits, ETJ, school district. With a bit more incentive the closer they live to town, less if they live further away. This should apply for current members as well. I believe this is the best way to recruit and retain the kind of staff who will be dedicated to Blanco for a long time.
Okay, Warren, if it's okay, I'd like to say a couple of things. I mean, because I'm the guy who's full of change.
Absolutely. Sure.
And then I'm gonna.
Hopefully quicker.
I'm sorry.
Hopefully quicker.
Yeah, here we go. Okay, let me see what I can do. I want everybody to understand that I'm the one that called the special meeting. I am exceedingly concerned as to the fact that since April the 9th, we've lost half our police officers. I mean, this is an unfortunate situation. And it's a significant problem, and I think it has to be addressed now. Give us another 3 weeks and we'll have it if it keeps going at this rate. And it's more of a knee-jerk reaction, and I realize that, but I am passionate about trying to find a solution. And I'm open to any suggestion. I mean, I don't have the answers. I guess basically, in my view, and I'm going to hold this to me, you have to identify the problem. Well, we have a problem. We're losing our police officers.
And the only way to fix a problem is sign the calls. If we don't know why the officers are all leaving, then how do we fix it? Just throwing something that it's not the answer. I guess for every action, there's a reaction. Our police chief unexpectedly retired. And it's saddening to me, and I really applaud Chief Rubin for what he did and what he's done for our city. But I think his leaving left a void and a doubt in our police department. I don't know that the police department understands that the council and the city fully support them, and I want them to understand that. I asked Officer or Lieutenant Thornhill, while he's acting or interim chief, to help find a solution, and that's what he has done. I've seen a draft of it. I haven't seen the final presentation, but I'm hoping that we tonight or today can do something to send a message to our police department that we support them and we're wanting to address their concerns. At the same time, I'm also going to suggest that we set up a liaison in between the council and the police department to avoid miscommunications, to identify problems before they get here or before they get to be festered. So that's all I have to say right now. I'm ready to hear what we can do to fix this.
Before we kind of start, I want to say a couple of things to address everyone here for all of them. Thank Councilor Smith and the mayor and everybody for statements they made. I'd like to say this. Lieutenant has stepped up, probably hasn't taken the day off in 3 weeks. Worked very hard to put together a presentation for you. What I want to say in this presentation, this is something for y'all to look at, and there might be some things you like and some things you don't. What I'm going to ask is that you prove something today to show the police officers and the police department that you care. And so that's what I'm hoping is something to prove today. It doesn't have to be everything. There'll be some things that will immediately know what the cost is, and maybe a couple of things that will have a budget. But I think this is a pretty comprehensive presentation. We get it. We had both our city attorney look at it. We had Max Westfield, who is Westbrook, our basically he's the person that's going to be helping us with the chief process. So anyway, I think you're going to see a lot of good things here, and just keep an open mind that you hope that you this one or two of these measures. Thanks. Very nice.
First, I want to thank all of you for coming, and I want to thank the citizens for coming. As you know, and the citizens are most likely aware, we've had a draft state loss in Martha Park. And to follow Councilman Smith and Mayor Arnold, it's going to be a little hard because that was a lot said, and I don't have that much to say. But what I will tell you is the morale has been undermined in the department, and it was undermined mostly on social media in various forms. I am not a social media fan. I do not care for social media. I think it's a dangerous burden to society. Officers feel like they have been attacked over and over again on social media. So, with that being said, this presentation today, can you put a full slide? See where it says slideshow at the top?
And now you get to teach me.
Now this presentation is not going to fix our department immediately. It does not really address our salaries either. That's a budget. This is a motivator and incentive program to allow me to increase my efforts to recruit and retain officers. And address the needs of the community first and foremost. I'd like to point out that I've been employed with the city longer than any city employee. I've been here 14 years. So I believe I'm fully vested in the city and the community. I'm a church member here. I participate in a lot of organizations here. My kids go to school here. And I'm the only officer that lives in the county as of right now. To address residential issues, a lot of officers do not live where they work. And they choose not to for several reasons. One, they tend to get bombarded by residents while at home or in the grocery store. We have officers that work here who get run into people in San Antonio constantly. And that's in San Antonio. So, and their approach about law enforcement issues here in the city while they're out there even with the kids and at functions. Not to say that it doesn't actually happen to me all the time, but I expect that from the citizens. And I have built a real good rapport with the citizens. I believe most of the citizens in this community are very familiar. But to move on to this is at best, I'm going to call it a crutch to help us recruit potential candidates. This is our mission statement. I hope it's very strong and very close to my heart. Our community comes first, and it always should. My recruitment retention incentive program, I have two programs set up, one for retention and one for recruiting. Currently, I'm down 3 officers in the last 2 months. I have another one leaving, so I'm fixing to not even have enough officers to cover patrol. So I've stepped up and started covering patrol. I covered it last night, and now I'm here today. We've lost the chief. My retention incentive is to give a one-time, I guess you could call it a bonus, but I don't like the word bonus. I like the word incentive because it shows the officers that you appreciate them. The ones that stay would get a one-time payout of $5,000. They would be required to commit to a 1-year commitment, additional 1-year commitment on that, with that voluntary retention. Also have 2 corporate positions that I'd like to fill immediately, because right now I have no, me and my detective are the only admins in the department. So I'm trying to run the operations side, what the chief normally do, and my regular duties, and cover patrol. So I would like to promote 2 corporals. That's a testing program, and they have to meet certain requirements. Years of service and training requirements. There's no financial burden to the city or our budget for that. Those positions were already approved with a minimal raise, a very minimal raise, which was budgeted. The current salaries, I just found out a few days ago that the county just upped their salary pay scale. Their starting pay is roughly $2,000 more than ours per year. And this is a competitive, I don't want to say industry because it's not an industry. It's a competitive profession. And right now, with the nationwide shortage of law enforcement officers, and that's nationwide, And then the state went and passed this new school bill, which requires all schools have an office around them. And that they're responsible for financially. So like our SROs are paid for 100% by the school district. That's no burden on the city. No payroll, they pay 100% of salaries and benefits. We are responsible for their training and their licensing. Also want to establish a annual pay incentive program for what's commonly referred to as a STEP program. The officers would receive 1 step for every year that they're here. Eventually moving up, I'll show you the proposed step program here in just a second. I also want to, this is actually part of the recruiting portion, but it ties into the retention. I'd like to have a stipend for bilingual officers. In other words, if they speak Spanish, sign language, something like that, they receive $25 a month for their language or bilingual speaking. This is just to get us started on retaining officers we currently have. I can't guarantee you that all, by the way, none of this would apply to me. None of it. Our recruiting program, again, I'd like to offer the $5,000 sign-on incentive. This incentive would not be cash up front, nothing like that. It's a 2-step process. After they would receive $2,500 after they completed their field training, which is roughly 16 weeks. And then they receive their second $2,500 at the end of their first year probation period. We already offered longevity pay, certificate pay, paid training opportunities. I think we're pretty competitive with the salary right now. When I came here, I was making $24,000 a year. And I was carpooling back and forth from Round Rock to here. But the STEP program is an incentive that retain officers and recruit officers. A lot of officers that I've spoken to said that's one of the first things they look for is a STEP program before they apply. Thirdly, we provide all uniforms, including sidearms, pro rifles, body armor, duty equipment. We've done that this entire time. And I want to continue that program. There's the additional $25 bilingual pay. That's roughly $300 a year. I don't think that's a huge increase. On top of that, all the money that I'm referring to right now will be taken from the current unpaid salaries of the positions that we cannot fill. So this would be, this is already budgeted. We just moved that money from that budget over to these incentive programs. Because I know I have one officer who's been gone for 6 months, 7 months, and that's all saving on salary. And then we've got several others who here and there that we save. Finally, I want to get to the STEP program. If we have an annual STEP program that helps with retention and recruiting, it raises the morale and the motivation of the officers. They want to work hard and they want to stay if they see a STEP program. It's financially stability. It's financial stability within the city. reduces professional development, reduces overturn and training costs. Training costs is one of our biggest downfalls right now. We'll get an officer, we'll train them, they get really good at what they do, and then they leave because, well, there's no step program, there's no incentives, there's no promotion program, they don't have nothing to look forward to. And I will tell you, a lot of officers want to progress in their career. They want to see specialized training, which we just can't offer right now. Forensics, special or victim services, LEAP, which is now our new statewide mental health for peace officers and first responders. A lot of people know them as cancer fires or something. So my proposal is to have for this coming budget year, is to have a starting pay of $58,269, still under most of our surrounding agencies. But that's for a new officer coming in. And there's a step program. Now, I do want to offer a lateral transfer for experienced officers, meaning they can receive two to one up to stage step 5. Meaning if they have 14 years, they can get up to stage or step 5 on starting pay. Do y'all have any questions?
Yes. Okay, lots of numbers, and I guess my first question is the current pay consideration to our officers is, I know we gave you $3,200, and I think it was 32, not 3, but we gave $3,200. But it's my understanding that those checks haven't been written.
No.
And that's, I think, unfortunate, because that may be part of some of the miscommunications that we've had.
Yes.
But, you know, that's behind all that. We're to this point and going forward. What is our current pay for a starting officer today? Today.
It would be 50, roughly 54.
54, and that hits the 32 in it?
No, sir. That's, this 58, 69 has the 32.
Okay. The 50, so next year's budget.
That's from the 12th officer that we gave.
Right, okay. All right, then you've had, so the 58, 269.12, I think is what you said. And with that, we're still $2,000 under the county.
Yes.
Okay. You're helping me with answers. Does the county have a step program?
They do not.
They do not. Okay. All right.
They do not have an incentive program.
Okay. We did have a budget of 12 officers. Yes. And we reduced that number down to fund the $3,200.
Yes.
And we only eliminated one officer, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So with your program, would you eliminate 1 or 2 more officers? I haven't done the math on it. How does that work?
That would not be including any officers. That would be fully staffed at 11 officers plus 1 admin.
Okay. All right. So then
So the total staffing is 12 for the department plus the 3 school resource officers. You can't take it into consideration because they're paid for by 100%.
okay. And if we implement one of these programs and it's additional cost with the school resource officers, if we give, they're eligible for these same incentives, correct?
No,
They're not.
they're not eligible for the same incentives unless the school district agrees to the
That-
same
that would-
incentive program.
Right.
And I can't speak for the school.
But we would give them an opportunity. Just to see if they want to participate. All right. And I appreciate the mayor's letter. Housing was something I hadn't thought about. But until I spoke with it a few days ago. And then again, as of today, it's kind of like some jobs, especially, you don't live in the same town where you work, for certain things. And I had not thought about that portion of it.
We've actually had officers that live in the city move out, and they said the reason they moved out because of the increase in vandalism to their vehicles. Just people showing up at their houses day and night. Once it's your construction worker, would you want me to show up at your house to ask you construction credit questions?
I deal with that on a daily basis. It's one of those council members. So, yeah, unfortunately, but I chose this lifestyle and I gotta let do this job, so I have very, very little free time. I spend very much of my free time doing this, issues, taking questions, comments, concerns.
But that's as an elected official,
Yeah.
not as an
Employee. But on the other hand, as far as a construction employee, yes, I get called all night long. Customers who aren't paying what they're calling, they're talking about. The first box, it's part of being self-employed as well. It's a lifestyle I choose, and I don't blame that on you, and you guys are paid employees working for an entity. So it's different. I can't compare my situation. It's not. And I do understand, I'm sympathetic for the points that you brought forward as far as residency, being a police officer. I can see where there could be risks involved. Let me ask you this. While putting this incentive program together, did you seek any help from any of our councilmen?
that's 100%.
Oh, you sent me, cool, all right. Did you approach any of them and let them know about anything about this ahead of time?
I did. Because I had to request a council meeting, and the only way you can, I cannot request a council meeting. Correct?
Correct. But the city administrator,
Yeah, I've had my request has to go through a council meeting. So
and
I
you
called
spoke
Mr.
with,
Smith and asked him to go to council.
I can appreciate it.
And actually, if I can butt in a little bit, all three council members, actually asked me for a council meeting, Councilman Smith, Ray Hill, and Swinson, so they all requested a council. That's good.
Well, once again, I'm sympathetic to that now. Up here, I appreciate what we're trying to do. And I do want to create retention. Sadly, council member who's been the most critical, your budget, anything with the police department, you did not approach. We have spoken here recently in private. I did ask you if there was anything I could do to help. Please personally tell me. I would like to have been involved in the process, consideration, this retention. Considering I do have quite a bit of public support. We also just did deliver a raise to your officers here recently, which will be going into effect. Correct. We approved.
Yeah, we
We approved the raise.
approved the
We're
raise.
taking a raise, okay.
Again, this is not a raise, this is an incentive program to get people to apply.
Understood,
That's all this is.
understood. If we need to rush, do this today, then you've got a problem.
Currently, I have
If-
no applications.
No application, okay. And if the incentives we've already offered, which are hard enough to come up with, obviously, we had to lose a position in order to get them. That's tough. It's sad that Councilmember Swinson was willing to sign on to this, yet she's not here today. I'll tell you what, I hope we can retain our officers until after this election and until the next meeting. The way this has been done, I'm not very proud of, sir. I am for an incentive program. I don't like that you have not involved all of our thoughts in the process. Second thing is you went to a council member who may not be a council member anymore. Fine. You didn't go to one. who's got an entire year left on us. You guys no longer have a quorum, and I'm the weekend. And I'll say this.
No, first of all, hold on. I want to say something. Ted Thornhill's been working at least 12-hour days. I think he deserves your respect. I'm sorry, I think he does. That's the first thing. Second thing, what I'd like to do right now is go over, he put together a project of PD incentives. I think you owe it to the officers and to the police department to actually listen to it. If you don't like it, then vote against it. But instead of creating a situation where there is not a quorum, I think people deserve to be heard. And that's all I'm asking.
Councilman, I mean, I do have some questions, so I don't really care to be here.
I'll wait.
Okay.
I'll wait.
Jared, just with, Lieutenant, just with what you've presented so far, so it sounds like the starting pay that you're proposing would really be just, would be normalizing the 3,200 raise that was recently put into.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the first thing. I just wanted to make sure I understood. And then the STEP program, is that based on a 3% annual increase?
Yes.
Okay, and this might be a budget question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are we typically trying, is that not our goal to bring salaries up 3% annually to keep up with inflation?
So we've been doing between 3% and 4%. I think last year you approved a 4% raise. And like what I was going to really say was I was going to kind of explain that when we look at this incentive structure, I don't think anybody expects to get everything approved today. And if I was a little tough, I apologize. I shouldn't have said what I said, but I will say that what I'd like to explain on all of this here is that I would like to see us at least approve one or two of these items to show the police department that we're listening to them. And there are some things that are maybe low cost, so some high cost things, so low cost things that can be done.
Well, I guess what I'm trying to get at, Lieutenant Thornhill, it sounds like what you're doing is you're just laying out so that the potential officers, the recruiting officers, they can actually see what they could expect, because we're pretty much doing that already. Yes, I mean, this is just a tool. Am I understanding it correctly?
Correct.
To better demonstrate where they will be in the next amount of years.
Correct.
Okay. And I'm not missing anything. That's basically all it is laying it out. Okay.
It's just laying out, they want to, accountants love forecasting. They love numbers. They want to see, well, normal people want to see what, they want to see, they would like to have a glimpse of their future.
Sure.
Or what their future holds. But none of us are psychic. At least I'm not. So
it sounds like
it's looked at and they go through a process.
what I've heard so far is you want to normalize the 3,200 we just put into place. So that would increase the starting pay to 58 and change. And then really you just want to, again, normalize what we've already been doing in the budget process, which is increasing the salaries to keep up with the cost of inflation. Am I understanding that?
Yes.
Warren, is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, I just want to make sure I understood that.
Now, the one thing that's not, I don't have available right now is a lot of places, taking in Brownsville, for example, they're running an ad and their ad specifically states $5,000 sign-on bonus. I can't say that on any ad I run because I don't have y'all's permission.
And again, what you're proposing is that $5,000 sign-on bonus, but 2,500 after they get out of their field training here in Blanco, and then the additional 2,500 after
They're 1 year probation.
and it requires that, obviously, that 1 year commitment.
Well, actually, it would require 3 years. If they leave before the 3 years, they would have to repay the city that $5,000.
Okay, I didn't understand that. Okay, thank you.
Because that's where we're losing money on training. They come here, they get trained, but just, and we, I have to say, I'm proud of my officers that are trained well.
Question.
Yeah, I do.
You got one more?
I got, I guess I'm gonna speak directly to you.
Okay.
Okay, what I'd like to try to do today, and that, provided you're still here, but what I'd like to try to do is let's sit down and talk about this, try to find a solution. I think, I truly want to send a message to our police department today that we're supporting them. And if we're discussing something and we don't like something about it before we go to vote, let's sit down and talk about it and try to work it out.
Here's what I'll have you take to them. Again. Farm's gone. Tell your officers to remain and show some loyalty. And be here. And we're going to meet up that next meeting. And their loyalty will be rewarded beyond what you're asking for. But till then, good luck, guys, for the good election. Farm's gone.
Yes. Like, oh,
It's
yeah.
a very small minority of our town. Y'all are very well.
Yes.
You're not right? Ever since I actually saw it, I waited till I saw it. Thanks for being here. I didn't know that
It was nice to be later.
No, I know. It's so hard for me that way.
Hey,
Thank you. Yes, sir. Today, maybe right after this. No. I do know.
Was that a shot?
Yes, I didn't know that was.
Is that still going?
There was.